Hello there, I'm Jacob, and I've got quite the tale to tell you about my travels and how I met the love of my life, Rachel. It all started with a journey to Haran, which, let me tell you, was no luxury cruise. Imagine walking miles and miles with only the stars for company, though I must admit they're pretty good listeners. When I finally reached Haran, tired and dusty, I headed straight for the local well. That's where everyone hung out and I needed to freshen up. But here's where the fun begins. I spotted a group of shepherds waiting to water their sheep, all staring at this huge stone covering the well's mouth. It was like one of those puzzles where you need 10 people to solve it. Just then, she walked up, Rachel, a shepherdess, who was as surprised to see me as I was to see the stone. I decided to impress her by moving the stone myself. I strutted over, rolled up my sleeves, and gave that stone a push. With a lot of grunting and maybe a little bit of pretending it was lighter than it was, I managed to move it. The shepherds gawked, and Rachel, well, she tried not to laugh. Rachel was beautiful and kind, and I was smitten right away. So much so that I ended up blurting out who I was and why I was there, which basically sounded like, "Hi, I'm Jacob, and I think I moved that stone just for you." Smooth, right? She just smiled and helped me get some water, which was a relief because talking that much had made me pretty thirsty. Determined to stick around and see where this could go, I met her father, Laban, and struck a deal to work for him for 7 years in exchange for marrying Rachel. In hindsight, I might have negotiated that deal with a bit more thought. Laban's smile was a bit too quick. As I settled into my new life in Haran, juggling sheep and sneaky father-in-law dealings, I couldn't help but look forward to each day with Rachel. Little did I know, my adventures were just getting started, and Laban had quite the plot twist up his sleeve. Working for Laban was like playing a never-ending game of Shepherd Says with someone who always had a trick up his sleeve. From sunrise to sunset, I managed flocks of sheep, learned to tell one from another, harder than you think, and tried not to let the mischievous ones lead me on a wild goose chase. My days were filled with sheep baaing, dust flying, and me dreaming of the day I would finally marry Rachel. Now Laban, he could be a tough cookie. He had this habit of changing his mind as often as I changed my socks, which, let's be honest, wasn't all that often in the fields. I had to keep on my toes, making sure that I didn't get outsmarted by my future father-in-law. He liked to test me, seeing if I'd stick around or scram, but I was determined to win his approval and, more importantly, Rachel's hand. As the years passed, I could almost picture the wedding in my mind. The big day came and the whole place was buzzing with excitement. However, Laban pulled a fast one on me. Instead of Rachel, I found myself standing next to Leah, her sister, at the altar. I couldn't believe it. There I was saying, "I do," and it was all wrong. The mix-up felt like something out of a shepherd's tale, only this was no laughing matter at the time. Laban's excuse? It's just not done here to marry off the younger before the older. He promised me Rachel, but only if I agreed to work another 7 years. What could I do? I agreed, of course. Rachel was worth any challenge, even if it meant doubling my time in the sheep fields. So I agreed to another 7 years of tending sheep, fixing fences, and dodging more of Laban's curveballs. These years seemed longer than the first, maybe because I knew exactly what I was working towards and just how tricky my father-in-law could be. But every evening, seeing Rachel's smile across the fields made each day's tiredness melt away. The day finally came when my commitment was fulfilled again, and this time Laban kept his word. The wedding was smaller, less flashy than the first, but to me, it was perfect. Standing beside Rachel with the right bride this time made all the struggles worth it. We both laughed a bit too loudly when we said our vows, maybe because we were both nervous that Laban might throw another surprise our way. Starting our life together wasn't without its challenges. Managing households with 2 wives brought more drama than any shepherd's tale could hope to capture. Leah and Rachel, despite everything, managed to find a rhythm, and we all found our way through the complicated family dynamics. Life in Haran grew busy with the arrival of children. Each child brought new joys and new challenges. Rachel's joy when Joseph was born was a light in our home. Through it all, our love and family grew amidst the chaos of daily life, sheep antics, and Laban's watchful eyes. After many years, the time came when I felt the pull to return to my homeland. With a large family and herds that had grown under my care, we prepared to face new adventures. Confronting my brother Esau, whom I had wronged many years before, was perhaps the most daunting of all. Reflecting back on those years, from meeting Rachel at the well, through the trials with Laban, to building our family, I learned that love, patience, and a good sense of humor can overcome almost any challenge. Thank you for joining me on this journey of laughter, love, and endless sheep. I hope our stories inspire you to face your challenges with a brave heart and maybe a bit of laughter too. And remember, no matter how tricky the path, there's always joy to be found in the journey.